No. I'm joking, obviously. Although, making this video was quite the reminder as to just how nuts Ghost is. It's been about 5 years since I've properly played Ghost, but in between 2020 and 2025, I have managed to get myself the 6-star version, take her all the way up from rank 1 to rank 5, awaken her, ascend her, take her all the way up to Sig 200. Now, before 2020, I mained Ghost as a 5-star, right? I played no one but Ghost. You can ask my alliance mates. It was bordering on mental illness, my obsession with Ghost. I even took Ghost into quests where she literally could not be used because I felt uncomfortable not having her on the team. Since then, my Ghost skills, I suppose they're not quite up to scratch, although the muscle memory is still there. So hopefully I can put on a good show for you today. So in today's video, we're going to be answering the question properly. Is the game ready for a 7-star version of Ghost? I will be talking about why she should be. Meanwhile, everything you're seeing on screen is an argument for why she shouldn't be. She is, as you can see, utterly insane. This footage is from, I believe, Act 9, and I've stuck on a 10% attack boost and a 20% champion boost to give me 30% overall attack. Now, is this a perfect simulation of a 7-star rank 3 or 7-star rank 4 Ghost? No, but it's good enough for our purposes, and she hits like a freight train. Obviously, anything I say in this video is completely redundant if Kabam just decide to sell her for £1,000, which seems to be the way to go today. So, yeah, I mean, she could be added to the 7-star, or they could decide for no obvious reason that she is just simply not allowed. Obviously, Human Torch and Dark Phoenix are allowed behind a $1,000 paywall, but Ghost is too powerful, maybe. Or maybe not, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, basically, there are some reasons why we may want Ghost as a 7-star character. Firstly, let's talk about the AI, right? When you play Ghost, if you're not familiar, you want the opponent to hit into your phase, especially when you're awakened. When you're awakened and at Sig 200, you gain 5% of max power every time the opponent hits into your phase. You can see there, that's how I'm throwing off so many special attacks without the opponent really being able to do anything. And the AI nowadays is kinda wacky, right? Just a little bit insane, and they're very inconsistent. So sometimes they'll hit into you. They'll do a nice like double medium, and then you can do a hit, and then the same thing, and they'll repeat. Sometimes they just stall, and they'll hit you right at the last second, and you'll flinch out, or they'll smack you in the face, or you'll go for a punish, and they'll parry you, or they'll just throw a special like on a dime. So since 2020, since Ghost Prime, the AI has become a lot harder to predict. I'm not even going to talk about that anymore. That's all I'm saying. And that makes playing Ghost treacherous in some scenarios. I remember coming back to Battlegrounds with Ghost, and yeah, I was very, very frustrated with the AI. This footage, by the way, you can see me taking a combo to the face against Archangel. This was just me going for raw damage, right? I will play Mr. Perfect Pretend Times later on, and I will show you the insanity of just not having to take any damage in some other pieces of content. But for right now, I'm just focusing on going as fast as possible. All of these opponents have like 800,000 health, and you can see without any sort of ramp, she's just taking them down very effectively. Right, I'm going to throw a heavy here, straight into an SB2, and Archangel is just wiped from the surface of the earth. 70k, 70k, nearly 100k. There's no ramping specials, she just does that. That's madness. Less than a minute. Okay, now it's time to play Mr. Perfect Pretend Times, and I will show some fights where I don't take a single bit of health. You can just go through content, phasing everything, and it's mad. But anyway, back to the arguments why she should be a 7-star. Or why it wouldn't be too insane to have her as a 7-star. Firstly, the AI is inconsistent, so playing her without synergies, these synergies I'm running are obviously the Quantum Trinity and all this content, makes her very useful. But playing her without the synergies is quite rough. It's not smooth, certainly. And, you know, I think it will be fair to have her as a 7-star in something like Battlegrounds. Also, let's talk about the state of the Mutant class in terms of defenders. The Mutant class is one of the probably the most updated defensive classes in the game, and then tech characters get updated kind of to beat them. You can just see it. It's like the new iPhone comes out, right? It's amazing and it's all the buzz, and then the next iPhone comes out and the next one's redundant, right? You just go like this all the time. And Ghost, you know, released in 2019, certainly been left behind by that. Plenty of mutant defenders today, she would struggle to take. For example, all of them. All apart from maybe Dust. She would struggle to take. For example, Onslaught, right? She's metal, so she can't shrug those neuros, so she can't phase. Mr. Sinister, she relies on guaranteed crits. She's not going to make any progress. And who is the other one? Captain Britain. Same problem with the neuroshocks. It's just not going to go anywhere, right? So in a game mode such as Battlegrounds or in Alliance War, if you were to place those mutant defenders on the relevant nodes, you straight up wouldn't be able to use Ghost. And also, there's a skill cap with Ghost. There is an enormous skill cap with Ghost. If you want to maximize Ghost, then you really have to bend physics to make sure you don't get hit. You can see here, right? Obviously, I'm being very AWOL about just like doing one light attack, 2 hits, 1 light attack. And am I playing like a coward? Yes, I'm just hiding in my phase the entire time. I'm not. I'm running away from him. See, he was being a little bit stingy, and I just ran away, backed off, waited for the precision to fall off, and then just restarted the ramp again, right? So here, am I being aggressive? No. You really need to be careful if you want to get this like insane results where you take no damage. Furthermore, miss counters are everywhere in this game, right? You can't move for miss counters. Miss is probably one of the most heavily countered abilities in the entire game today. Like, if your character can counter miss, they're immediately a good character, right? They immediately have some sort of inherent value because it's everywhere. Ghost relies on miss, right? She's obviously not a defender, so we don't need to worry about that. But there are plenty of nodes and champions and defenders that counter miss, and that's just very frustrating. So there's less opportunity for cheese. But yeah, everything, all of what I just said, I you know, obviously those are arguments, but if I'm being honest, this is just too much for me. Right, I don't want to see her as a 7-star. I just don't. Right, think of the Alliance War. You can run the entire Quantum Trinity, and no, you may not be able to take all of the meta-relevant mutant characters, but think of all the other characters you can take. While a lot of other tech characters in this game kind of fall ill and fall into the trap of just being designed to tackle mutants, nothing in Ghost's kit says that she has to fight a mutant in order to be good. Her kit's just broken. It's just incredible. So you can take her into all sorts of matchups. For example, Sentinel, I'm not running any power back boosts. This footage you're seeing here is unboosted. So like you can go further with the boost. You can put power back boosts on and all the flashy shit you get in Alliance War, and she just turns into a complete monster. If you run Hood and then the Suicide Masteries, you take no damage. You just take no damage. You get these 2 insane Furies at the start of the fight. Any DOT debuff is just turned into damage. And she takes no recoil damage with Hood. She can tank SB3s with Hood. Alliance War is going to be dominated. If you boost high enough, basically everything is going to be dominated. Andrew the Rough has a fantastic video of him taking, like, Man-Thing with Ghost and the War Machine synergy. Right? It's just ridiculous the things a skilled player can do with resources, time, and talent. Ghost really does not have a place in this game as a 7-star character. And, you know, you may be wondering, well, okay, why am I making this video? Because it's fun. Because it's fun to find out, right? I didn't know that. You know, I thought, you know what, it's 2025. We'd be fine with this. She's coming up on 6 years old. I was wrong. I was wrong. I don't want to clickbait anybody into thinking this was actually a discussion. It's not a discussion. She's ridiculous. You can see here I've done, you know, 3 fights. This is in Act 8, this footage. Up against the Sentinel here, and it's really just not a competition, right? I've just finished those fights at 100% health. I could do the entire path at 100% health. I could do the path and the boss at 100% health. I could do the rest of Act 8 at 100% health. You never need to interact with the opponent. Right? Is she hard to play? Yes. Is it worth it? God, yes. God, yes. She is ridiculous. Now, back to some boosted gameplay. Right, this is sped up. This is just 1.5 speed. I want to keep this relatively short, this video. And this just goes to show that, does she have, like, the most massive damage output in the world? No, she doesn't. This fight took about 4 minutes. From a 6-star rank 5, honestly, 4-minute fight? Not so bad. I just know that none of you have an attention span that can handle a Labyrinth of Legends fight, so I speed it up. But look, this isn't supposed to showcase a damage output. Yes, she has a damage output that is ridiculous. But what this is supposed to show is that you can go for millions and millions of health at a time, and as long as you have a skilled player, look at my health bar. Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Like, forget Quake, she's so much more direct than Quake. I remember, like, back in the time of, like, her release, back, like, 2018, was it 2018 or 2019? I think it might have been 2018. But back in around those times, there was a genuine debate, is Ghost better than Quake? And that was a serious discussion. And I believe it, like, still is. She is so nuts. And while it is difficult to, you know, reach the level where you no longer need to interact with the opponent, certainly a lot harder than with Quake, when you manage it, the amount of shit you can just get by, and you can employ hit minimization as well through this insane power again. I can just do one light attack, dash back, one light attack, hide in my phase, one light attack, hide in my phase. It's nuts. And you can see, you know, Star-Lord, he can throw as many hits as he likes. I'm hitting damage cap with like 3-4 cruelties, right? And with the SP3, I can make all those cruelties permanent and passive. They're less potent, but I can make them permanent and passive, and then I can stack off another set of 5, plus all the Furies, right? And we're hitting damage cap here. If the damage cap wasn't there, these hits would be like nearly 100k without Fury. That's dumb. Objectively dumb. That's just ridiculous. Then you add in the Fury, then you add in the other cruelties, and yeah, you have a damage output that dwarfs 99% of the rest of the tech class, with a kit that allows you to bypass like 90% of mechanics even in the modern day, and will save you so many resources. Kabam will, actually, I was about to say they'll start crying because they'll lose profits, but no, they'll just sell her for £1,000. You know what? I'm very pleasantly surprised. Because a part of me thought this was going to be a debate. And I've always loved Ghost, and I've always wanted to hype up Ghost, and I know she's kind of fallen off a cliff because, you know, the game moves forward. But I'm very pleasantly surprised that she can still kick ass. Yeah, she is still ridiculous. Will I be putting her in my Battlegrounds deck anytime soon? No. Am I now aware that she is still the powerhouse she always was? Yes. Should you rank up your Ghost? If you are willing to put the effort and the time in to learn her, absolutely. If you're not, don't bother. Because if you want to do this, this takes time and effort. Star-Lord goes down just over 4 minutes. But again, full yellow bar. Madness. Madness. I love playing Ghost with me. Anyway, that is just about it for today. So if you have made it this far, then congratulations. You have an attention span greater than that of a goldfish. And go away.